Hello, I am the Reading Rainbow Emperor, and today we'll be talking about Jason Anspach and Nick Cole's masterpiece, Galaxy's Edge: Attack of Shadows, which I will be referring to as Attack of the Shadows because that sounds better in my mouth. Mostly, I forget that there's no like the right here. It's not a problem, but it's like one of those things. It's like, oh, it hurts me to remember that there's no the there. You know what I mean? As always, check out my Fiverr, my blogs, my all the other things that I do for more content by yours truly, as well as those things by my friends, including those who show up in the books that I review, because this is mostly to review the books of my friends, you see. I've been looking forward to this. This is my solid contender for my favorite in the series, next to Galactic Outlaws. Honestly, I wish more books had this confidence, this panache, this class to handle fleet to fleet actions like this, like this. Instead of staid, boring, and realistic fight scenes, we have desperate, awesome, action-filled fighter on fighter and battleship on battleship action. It's everything I've ever wanted. Especially the ending, just ooh. Rather than following a single character or a small group with light jumping around, like say Galactic Outlaws between Tyrus Rex and Wraith, or Chune's perspective in Kill Team and Legionnaire. Attack of the Shadow focuses on the battle. The battle is the character. As such, it can twist and turn as needed for a proper view of the setup, the fight, the dramatic ending. It's a masterpiece of battle writing, character introduction, and dramatic pacing. It literally inspired me to try and write a book mimicking some of the techniques it used. This plot starts with Major Thales discovering the infiltration into the gun on Tarago's moon. It quickly evolves into a more and more expansive battle scene, from Utopion to Tarago, that delights in the mental eye staring into its awesome depths. Then we have the invading fleet. Three immense and powerful battleships containing untold number of fighters and shock troopers, unlike anything the galaxy has seen since the Savage Wars. The defense fleet is unprepared. Admiral Devers, the golden boy of Kublar and Snake, reveals his treachery and plays a deeper game with Goth Solus, who, as you might recall, was the target in Galactic Outlaws. The fighting continues. Captain DeSakes breaks out of the docks with his corvette and has a desperate mission to bring back the 7th Fleet to defend the Tarago shipyards, which are already falling to the shock trooper. Uh, Drop troopers? I'm not sure. They kind of just go, from low orbit. Choo! It's great. It's a great scene. Uh, Plots and schemes are revealed and acted on by Orin Carr, Goth Solus, and myriads of other characters who are forced into the conflict whether they expect it or not. The book ends with Goth Solus taking Tarago Moon and revealing powers unlike anything his soldiers have seen before. Exo is at his side. He defected from the Legion, but is still trying to save what brothers of his he can. Bombassa boards Desake's corvette and makes a desperate escape with as he makes a desperate escape with the planet's governor, and takes it a prize with a laser cutting tool. Autumna splashes down in Tarago's ocean, one of the last survivors in the fighter-to-fighter conflict. Goth Solus is declared emperor by Admiral Ramal, and Devers is rewarded as a traitor deserves. Very satisfying. And the next round of the Galaxy saga unfolds. Attack of the Shadows is the third and last foundational book for Galaxy's Edge. It introduces fan favorite characters like Uptumna, Vampa, Desakes, Cat, and Bombassa. Not gonna lie, Vampa is my favorite. She hits it just right. Power hungry, beautiful, a villain. I'm not kind of like that, but this is the sort of thing I enjoy when they do it just right. See Maleficent for doing it wrong, just in case you were wondering. Unconsciously, she would have a perfect golden ratio in her absolute territory. You know, she clasps her elbows in such a way that frames her perfect figure and demands obedience. Long black hair, perfect face. I swear to goodness, I need Vampa fan art just so she can glare at me. Become full degenerate. Vampa. Probably my favorite character in the series uh, of her class. Just right. I don't know what or how they hit that mark, but I'm into it where I wasn't before. Bombasa is just right. Cat just right. DeSakes just right. The other generals and admirals aren't quite at that level, but ooh, this book is just right. Attack of the Shadows establishes rules for the large scale conflicts, what sort of casualties to expect, and the desperate struggle for the Republic or Empire's survival. Really, it's one of those things you won't think about, but it'll stick in the back of your mind, and violations of those rules will be noted and ruin your suspension of disbelief. It's the same reflex that made certain scenes in The Last Jedi, where Admiral Gender Studies, that's Holdo for those who aren't so sarcastic as I am, hyperspace rammed the First Order ships. You know that if this was a thing, others would have done it before. You could wipe out the Death Star with an X-wing. You could get the Death Star too with, like an A-wing. Bam, Coruscant, bam, Endor, make the Ewoks pay. We didn't forget nothing. It's not part of the rules that hyperspace ramming is unacceptable, right? There's no like law written down in one of the books that you just don't do that. But how do you know? How do you know that this is wrong? When you see it, it was beautiful. But how did it's a feeling. Almost everyone I've talked to has felt it. Who knew Star Wars, I should say. What told you that this wasn't done? Nothing. Nothing mentioned it. The rules in Star Wars were clear. Hyperspace is another dimension, mostly for traveling, and no one else uses that way. And no one else uses it to ram, except for a few Lando Calrissian books that are way before what everyone knows is canon, and you probably haven't read because they're obscure. We know how hyperspace works, but nobody has said that nobody rams in hyperspace, I should say. There's things like hyperspace mines. Uh, Whatever, gravity wells, blah, 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 technical jargon. This isn't a Science O channel, I'm sorry. Attack of the Shadows is the final piece of the rules of this world. This is how ship to ship combat will be handled. Here's how things work. People act, how it all comes together. Here's the mix of super weapons, fighter squads, and what limits Goth Solace. Everything is mixed together so well, it's a delight to reread. It's so good, it's almost a pity the other ship to ship fights pale in comparison in the other books. Attack of the Shadows is, again, one of my favorite, and probably the best written, Galaxy's Edge novel. At least in the main season. Requiem for Medusa is pretty amazing. Perhaps it's the anticipation of Kill Team that made it sweeter, since it was a much slower novel. Perhaps it's the shock of the secrets revealed and the ever so satisfying vengeance that Goth Solace reaped on Deaver. Perhaps it's the introduction of Best Girl Vampa and Best Boy Bombasa. The literary world needs more. More, I tell you, books like Attack of the Shadows. They need that build up through three excellent novels of world establishment for a cathartic climax that sets up the second half and builds to the frenetic ending of the season with retribution. Perfection. And this cover, fantastic. Probably my second or third favorite cover in the entire book universe. Amazing. To all the Legies out there, KTF, and always make them pay. Links to Attack of the Shadows will be down in the doobly-doo. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my novel writing mentoring course on Fiverr. I guarantee it'll be worth your time. You are all wonderful. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend.